Despite everything I have to say about Dying Light 2, the bit where the guy pushes Rye open is both hilarious and absolute goddamn genius. I'm going to own up to a mistake straight away because we've just come off a 2 or 3 hour play session of Dying Light, Tim, and I've decided that we're going to record this while I'm still angry.
Yeah, it's probably not a good idea.
But we're going to do it anyway. So my notes are a bit all over the place. I've not organised them or gone through them. I'm probably going to go back and forth a lot because if you're in a rush and you don't have time to watch the whole video, I think it's bad. I think it's a bad game.
Spoilers.
And I think it's a bad game for a lot of reasons.
Yeah.
But the main one, the most consistent one that keeps showing its head is it's like the first Dying Light.
But worse.
But everything's just so much worse.
Yeah, Dying Light was a really good game, and we spent a lot of time with that game. And it is really just that, but everything's kind of a little shitter.
It feels more like a video game, but not in a good way.
Even the environments, the zombies, the people, the backstory, if you can call it much of a story.
The first Dying Light didn't have a great story.
No, that's what I mean. They're not really very heavily story-focused, which is fine.
But I feel like they knew that in the first one.
Yeah.
They were aware that their story was so generic and crap and whatever. It was the bare minimum it needed to be to exist and set the gameplay in the world. This does so much story, but it's all really crap and generic and emotionless.
It really wants you to care about all these characters it's throwing in, but I don't care. I don't care about anyone.
I don't care!
I don't actually remember any names, I don't remember any faces. I barely remember our own.
If we're going to talk about it in more detail, we'll start off where most normal people decide to start. From the beginning of the game, the first hour or so fucking drags. Especially if, like us, the most important thing that you're waiting for is to be able to play co-op.
Because that's it. Again, a big reason why we love the first one is because it's co-op. There are not many co-op zombie games that are long-term.
I'm outing myself again. I hate Luigi's Mansion 3. And it's nothing to do with Luigi's Mansion 3. It's the fact that it takes 2 hours before you can play in co-op.
Yeah.
And it advertises co-op. I've come into this for co-op. Let me play the co-op. This is like that, but so much worse.
Yeah.
Because I'm sitting through all this story crap and characters, and I'm like, are you ever going to turn up in the story again? And am I even going to recognize you when you do? We're going on and on about the story, but that's surplus to what's important, and that's the combat.
It's fine.
Do you enjoy it?
No, I mean, not really. First of all, when you start the game, automatically you have health bars, which is a weird thing to have in this kind of game. So we took them off pretty quickly because...
It removes all the tension of a fight.
Yeah.
Because you know exactly when it's going to end.
I don't like knowing when a random zombie enemy is just going to die. It's kind of more intimidating and scary, I guess, when you don't know that. So that was one thing. But it also just feels a bit weak. I remember in the first game, when you hit a zombie, you could kind of feel it.
There's a crunch.
Yeah, there's a crunch. There's a mixture of sound design, of visuals, of a bit of everything, and it feels heavier. And it feels scarier.
The zombies feel like a tangible presence, while in this you can swing a small machete and slice 4 zombies at once. And then you do one small swing and a zombie flies across the room or off a building. And there's like a really early bit, and it's a little early spoiler, I guess, but it's also not a spoiler because it never focuses on it, but your character is talking to someone and he's speaking about your abilities and how you're stronger than everyone else. Am I?
Yeah, I feel pretty weak, to be honest.
But that's it. That's 5-6 hours of playing now.
Yeah.
It's been mentioned once.
It's weird because, apparently we're supposed to be these really strong people with above average ability to most people. We've been a pilgrim for a long time, but occasionally you just get beaten up.
It feels like the game's explanation for why you can do all these amazing parkour things and fight all these people and zombies. First one didn't need that.
No.
I didn't need it.
No.
I'm just cool.
We're just athletic.
We're just very sporty.
Yeah, I know people in real life that do parkour. It's pretty...
I can kick a ball. I can kill a man.
Exactly.
It's the same skill set. I'm going to let you start off talking about the thing I hate the most. I'm going to see if you know which thing it is.
Okay.
I hate it so much. I think it's such a stupid inclusion, but I'm going to let you talk about it first before I go off on one.
Right. I assume you mean the timer. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like tension for the sake of tension.
The in-universe explanation for this stupid fucking timer is that you're infected, but it's now different from the first one where you're infected and just taking a drug for a bit when the story decides doesn't cut it, and you have to stay in the daylight or UV light, which means you can't go into dark places or stay out at night for too long. But they're the best bits.
Yeah.
Going into a building and checking corners and fighting zombies and letting the atmosphere soak in, or going around at night and stealthily moving around because you don't want to get hunted by a volatile. They were the best bits of the first game. I mean, I get why they called it a 500 fucking hour game. Because the amount of running back and forth to light you are going to have to do makes it that fucking long.
It isn't long enough to do anything. If you're going into a base where it's in the dark and you have to switch on generators later on, you still have to deal with it, and occasionally you'll get caught up and have to use an inhaler just so you can carry on. It's a little bit... It's just a bit of extra faff that you don't need.
I don't think you're as bothered by it as me.
No, it's not the part I hate most about the game.
I fucking hate it. It's just like, oh, we've crafted this building, we've crafted this area. How are we going to raise the stakes and make there real tension? I don't know, just put a fucking timer on it. No, make your game creepy and atmospheric or tense. Make an action sequence. Don't just slap a fucking timer on and go, your problem, mate.
It's just trying to add unnecessary tension to a game that should be filled with tension.
It's trying to be so fast-paced.
Yeah.
And that's why it's ruined itself compared to the first one for me.
Because you could take your time in the first one.
Because it cared about building up the atmosphere.
Yeah.
The first one, it was, you have the parkour and you're moving around a lot, but it was very deliberate. Moving from building to building was a precise decision you made. In this one, it's like, go, 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 go.
And also, like, I don't know if this is just me or if this is because I haven't played the first one in a bit of time, but I feel like the first map was way better laid out. Like, running from roof to roof, running from object to object, you kind of knew where you could go before you even saw it. You kind of knew there would be a route. With this one, I keep falling off the building.
It feels thrown in.
It does. It just feels kind of like randomly generated, and then it's just like...
That, again, the first one funneled you. It funneled you in a way that you didn't feel funneled.
It felt like you could go anywhere.
But there was a route. There
Yeah.
was ways and there were better ways to get to places, but you didn't see that actively. This one, I'm like, well, this looks like a way to go. And I jump. And I'm thinking, well, it leads to this ledge. There must be something underneath I can grab onto or a soft landing. And I just jump off a fucking building.
Crunch.
Whose fucking idea was that? That bridge in the tutorial. I'm like, what? This leads like I'm supposed to jump off this into the water. But it's not this big, long metal beam. It's this tiny little ramp with a small arrow on it hidden behind the car. Like, what? That's 101.
That's my biggest... Well, okay, I do have other issues with the game, which we'll lead on to. But my biggest issue with the game, regardless of technical issues, is the design of everything. Because, as we said, the design of the city is just kind of... It's all boring. It's uninteresting.
Palette
The colour palette is boring, yeah.
It's just orange.
It's just not good in general. But my main issue is the zombies. They're not scary at all, and I hate this new trend in games where monsters are just slightly humanoid-looking things that are looking a little bit creepy, but they glow. And that's it. That is the only interesting part of them. They just glow a bit.
Back for Blood,
Yeah.
Rainbow Six Extraction, and now this.
That's what I mean.
They're the three biggest zombie or zombie-esque games, at least.
It just seems to be a new trend where it's like, you can make them interesting without making them glow.
It's Left 4 Dead's fault, really.
Yeah.
They threw Special Infected in, and everything's been trying to build on that ever since, and they can't, and they shouldn't.
Yeah.
Make your zombies scary.
But it's like World War Z made Special Infected without making them glow. They just had interesting concepts that they could roll with.
And again, they're not the best bit of that game.
No, not at all.
It's weird because in another game it wouldn't bother me. But it bothers me because Dying Light 1 did it so much better. Like,
That's what I
7,
mean.
8 years ago now?
It's baffling how far away from the original game they've gone.
Every new exclusive feature they've added to this one just further lessens it to the previous one. So, like, take the weapon durability. The first one had that. Every now and again, you had to hold Y. It was fine. You could keep your weapon for quite a while.
Could you repair them in the first one?
Yeah, you just held Y.
Yeah,
And then
I
eventually
thought so.
they broke, but it was ages, and the fact that you can't remember
Yeah.
shows how unintrusive it was as a mechanic. And it didn't need to be in that game, but this game's taken it to a whole new fucking level. I fucking hate how video games decide things break.
I mean, to be fair, I don't mind it because it was in the first game. It didn't bother me too much in the first game.
Some of the weapons in this one, that to give them some credit, they're quite different. They feel a bit different, but some of them feel shit.
Honestly, I don't really think they feel that different.
It's a case of faster and slower.
But it's like, again, in the original, you would have some interesting weapons, whereas this is like sword, big stick that's heavier. hammer, and that's kind of it. Those are the options, and I mean that's fine, but I wouldn't call it interesting.
It's actually funny because one of the more interesting tidbits that came out about this game a while ago when they were making it is that there are going to be no firearms of any kind. They've totally got rid of guns. And it's quite a reasonable decision because, to be fair, even in Dying Light 1 and Dead Island before them, the gunplay was shit. There's a weird, like, when you have a zombie game and you want it to be melee-focused, but you want to do the guns and you shoot a zombie in the head and it barely does any damage. It just feels wrong, it's off, it's stupid.
Yeah.
Get rid of them. I understand that. But somehow, even though they chose to focus the action on the melee combat, they just made it worse.
Yeah.
They took the time, they said, scrap everything, all the peripherals, we'll just focus on this one important thing to make sure it works. And it doesn't feel good. They actually made it so much worse to the point where I wish they'd give me a gun so I could just fucking shoot myself.
It's such a shame because I really wanted to like this game, but also it's annoying that the only word I can think to describe any of it is it's boring. It's just really boring.
It's a runaround, nothing feels interesting. The side quests are generic and dull.
There's no tension.
The first one had generic and dull side quests.
Yeah, but the thing is, I'm fine with generic and dull side quests because it's not about where you're going. It's not about the destination, it's about the journey.
And the journey was good.
Yeah, exactly. You enjoy the journey, you enjoy the travelling, you enjoy jumping over buildings. It felt satisfying. Killing random zombies, it felt
Getting
satisfying.
stuck in a fight and you're desperate escape.
And escaping at the last minute. It was fun. In this, it's all just dull.
It wasn't supposed to go down this way.
Sorry.
Like, I'm starting to recognise the map, and I'm starting to recognise areas, but I still don't recognise anything, if you know what I mean. I can't distinguish.
There's a fair amount of sort of copy and paste where there's so much similarity that you think, I feel like I've been here, but have I?
Well,
And do I even like it here?
Well, that's the thing. It's like, I know where I am, and I know it's different to over there, but it looks exactly the same.
So it doesn't feel special.
It doesn't feel
knowing
special.
this
It doesn't
place.
feel different. It doesn't feel... Nowhere feels unique. It just feels like a random rooftop.
At the risk of this video, because we've already ranted for longer than I want to edit, and at the risk of this video just sounding like we're just trashing this game, let's talk about the worst aspect.
Oh, God.
There's a lot of, we'll be generous and call them teething problems. And I will, before we go off on one of them, so people aren't in the comments telling us, I know Techland were really good with the first Dying Light. They've supported that game. To this point, I think they're still putting little things in there. They're still, they care. All of this is criticism of a game, and it's not criticism of the people who made it, because I know they are people who care. So I do think these bugs will get fixed.
Yeah, 100%. Like, at first I was calling them teething problems because we had a couple bugs, a couple random glitches, a couple things that were a bit off.
Some pissy AI.
Yeah, some audio
bugs,
not coming in, things like that.
Floating above a man's head.
Which is just fun. But then there were some bugs which are just frustrating.
The fact that we had to figure out a way around some of them.
Twice.
And without any of the online features,
yeah,
they would be game-breaking.
Oh, 100%. Actually, that's a very fair point. Because if we weren't playing the two of us, there would be no way out of it.
Basically, we died, and we spawned in a safe house that we'd already cleared. I'd moved this bookcase out of the way to get to the back area. We spawned in the back area. Bookcase was back in the way. You can't move it from behind it. We were both stuck in the room.
And we were there for a while just being like...
What do we do?
What do we do?
We found out that you could then quit out, go in your game. I could join your game and then go back into my game. And that would kind of tell the game to put me closer to where I was in your instance.
And it did work.
It did work. And it happened again in a story-specific area. And we did the same process. It was a pain in the arse, but it freed us. For us, at worst, it was immersion killing. If you don't have online features, or if you're going to struggle to get into playing a game with somebody, because we're playing it together, some people are going to play a single player. That's game breaking. We would have had to start a new game.
And at that point, I wouldn't have, because it's not interesting enough.
Fuck that. And in a £60 game,
yeah,
video games, they've gone up in price. And honestly, how fucking dare they? If you're going to continually put the price up, match the fucking quality to your price, because games that came out 20 years ago that were way cheaper are better than this.
Yeah, it is insane. It's like, why are there so many games at the moment that are coming out unfinished?
Because they fucking can.
But they're coming out unfinished and still charging from 60 to sometimes 100 or 150. And it's insane.
It is insane, and that's a can of worms that's not going to happen right now.
Yeah, okay.
Because I'm not editing it.
That's another video.
It is awful, and Dying Light may not be the most egregious example. It might not be Cyberpunk, but that does not make it in any way forgivable for the state it's in.
It's becoming way too common.
I trust Techland to care and fix it, unlike a lot of the other games that don't give a shit. But £60 right now for a game that fundamentally doesn't work. We shouldn't have to find fixes. We shouldn't screw around with joining games and other games to try and work around the problem. There shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah.
All that negativity aside, it's kind of a funny game.
To be honest, I really wish I enjoyed it more. I'm having fun because I'm playing with you and I like playing games, but
Well,
honestly,
I wanted to record this now because the second I have it recorded and I start working on the video, I either lose interest in the game or I stop being so critical of it.
I get what you
So
mean.
this is why we're doing it so early with a bit more scattered notes, because I want to enjoy it. And if we change our minds, I'll put a bit of text on the screen.
I'm honestly going to say that the more we play it and the more I talk about it and the more I think about it, it just makes me want to play Dying Light 1. That's where I'm at with it, and I don't know if that'll change. I hope it will, but I don't know if it will.
I mean, there you go. There's our standpoint. If you're thinking about getting this and you've not played the first one,
Play the first one.
way cheaper.
Yeah.
It's way better. I was lied to. This is not 5 out of 5 boobies.
It's not. There are no boobies.
And even if there were 2 out of 5 boobies,
Also, 2 out of 5. Cochrane.
1 out of 5, this review's done. All right, thanks for listening to us talk utter crap at, 11 o'clock at night. If you want to leave a like and subscribe, that really helps us out. If you want to financially support us on our Patreon, that's in the description. We appreciate anything you're willing to give. Apart from all that, tell us how you feel about Dying Light 2. Tell us how you feel about Dying Light 1. Tell us your favourite zombie game. Tell us anything you actually want. We don't care. We'll listen. Just pile it on.
Yeah.
And we'll show some level of interest, probably. Apart from all that, thank you for watching, and cheers.
Bye.
Just finished recording, right? I don't know where I'm going to fit this in, but it's just going to slot in there somewhere, so you're just going to have to go with it. But I checked my notes and I forgot something that I detest in games so much. Why do video games feel the need to explain the concept of sneaking? Like you have no possible way to know what it is. If you sneak, you will not be seen and be sneaking, and then you will be sneaky and not be seen. I know! I know what it means. That's it. That's all I have to say.
Yeah.